So, ladies and gentlemen, whether you call them a Team Canada star or the West Coast's answer to Denny Potvin, Dennis Kearns made such an impact on the NHL. We're still feeling it years later. Not only did he solidify the defense for the early years of the Vancouver Canucks, led them strongly in the 75 quarterfinal series against Montreal, where the team really arrived. He was an all-time Vancouver Canuck. He played every game with the squad. Now, his rights being held by the Chicago Blackhawks. Kearns served a 4-year apprentice in the minor leagues, principally with the Portland Buckaroos of the Western Hockey League. Between 69 and 71, Kearns was a first or second team league all-star all 3 years. Now, in the summer of 71, Chicago, then deep on defense behind perennial all-stars Pat Stapleton and Bill White, exposed Kearns in the intra-league draft, and he was claimed by Vancouver, for whom he made his NHL debut that fall. Kearns played his next 10 years in Vancouver, his entire NHL career, becoming a star playmaker with noteworthy skill on offense and the power play despite his small size for a defenseman. Now, undrafted, of course, 5'8", maybe 185 pounds. His best years were between 76 and 78, when having recovered from injuries the previous 2 campaigns. He averaged nearly 50 assists a season, was named the Canadian national team at the Worlds twice, and was called by the Hockey News the Denny Potvin of the West. His feats on the ice never translated success in the playoffs. During his career, Kearns played in only 11 playoff games, and the Canucks won only 3 playoff matches during his tenure. His production declined sharply after the 79 season, and no longer a frontline defenseman as the team moved forward together into prominence, but he retired after the 81 season. This before he made it to the Stanley Cup. Now, Harold Steps played a lot of the Dennis Kearns role when Dennis retired. Now, a member of Team Canada, the 77 and 78 World Ice Hockey Championships, they came within a whisper of winning bronze in 77, could have easily won silver, but in 78, their first medal at a world event since the late 60s, and well-deserved, and he was kind of the unofficial captain. Now, he's finished career with 31 goals and 290 assists for 320 points in 677 games, alongside 386 penalty minutes. His 55 helpers and 77 remained the team record for rear guards until surpassed by Quinn Hughes in 2022, so it took 45 years. He had 60. His 321 career points was the all-time mark for Canucks defensemen over 3 decades, until surpassed by Matthias Ohlund at the end of the 2009 season. His 290 career assists stood as a franchise record for rear guards until being overtaken by Alexander Edler in 2020. In retirement, he was very active. He and his family lived in Vancouver, where he owned an insurance business. His son Bracken also played hockey professionally with the Florida Panthers, San Jose Sharks, and New York Islanders before retiring in 2019. So, first came to my major prominence, ladies and gentlemen, with the Kingston Frontenacs of the 66 campaign, and like I said, undrafted. Now with the Kingston Aces of the OHA Senior League, he had his career highs for goals with 17, 31 points. Now the 3 years with the Portland Buckaroos of the WHL, some really solid numbers, 20 points in 68, 5 goals, in 68 contests, 6 points in the playoffs, 2 counters. 69 with Portland again, 44 points, 42 assists, 8 points in 11 postseason contests, 2 counters. Portland in 1970, 53 points, nearly a career high, 11 goals, 1 goal, 6 assists, and 7 points in the playoffs. Now with Dallas of the CHL, some really strong numbers. In 71, 8 goals, 44 assists for 52 points, and 7 points in the postseason. Now Vancouver, he was an original Canuck, came in 72 and like some solid numbers at the Pacific Coliseum, 29 points in 73 games, 3 goals. Now, with some talk he was going to make Team Canada, but Glennie was selected. Now, in 73, 37 points, including 4 counters, with a minuscule 51 minutes and penalties. 74, 17 points in 52 games, 4 counters. 75, injury played again, only 12 points, but played 4 games against Montreal in the postseason with 2 minors. 76, got to the playoffs again with Vancouver, 51 points, 5 counters, 46 assists, the full 80 games. 77, 80 games again, 60 points, didn't make the postseason. 78, 47 points, 4 goals. 79, 3 goals, 31 assists for 34 points, and a goal and assist in 3 playoff contests. 1980, a goal, 18 assists for 19 points, and 81, 1 goal, 14 assists for 15 points. Full NHL totals: 677 games played, 31 counters, 290 assists, 321 points, 386 minutes and penalties. Rarely take more than 10 or 15 minors per season, and 3 points in 11 playoff contests. 77 World Championships, 10 games in that split were round-robin games in the playoff round, 1 assist. And 78, 14 minutes and penalties with 1 assist in 10 games. So Team Canada 77 and 78, I don't think they could have done it without us. And Phil Esposito once said it was probably the best defender they had in all two tournaments. Now, some people were talking a few years ago about Dennis Kearns being considered for the NHL Hall of Fame. But under the legends of hockey, I want to just recount what they said. Now, he did play with the Kingston Canadians in OHAB in '66, by the way. Now, an excellent puck-moving defenseman, this is from Legends of Hockey, with a good shot from the point, who spent his entire career with the Canucks. He was useful on the power play with the team's transition game, but he needed to be paired with someone who could stay back when Kearns embarked on one of his patented rushes or was pinching in at the blue line. Now, he played junior with his hometown Kingston Canadians of OHA in '66, then spent a year with the city's senior aces. Originally property of the Hawks, again a stalwart in the WHL with Portland was 67 to 70. 130 and 17 points in 3 years. Now, around this time, again, Chicago was deep on defense and decided to expose Kearns in interleague draft. Now, I don't really know why, but Talon, they gave up on him in Chicago, and he eventually was paired with the former number 2 pick. Now, when he was paired with Dale Talon, sometimes with John Shella, a very good player as well. Eventually, Kearns put up, again, most impressive season between 75 and 78. Now, the 60 points, Doug Glitzer did that quite well in '87. That was comparable. Now, the mobility and offensive savvy by Kearns were sought by Team Canada at 77-78 Worlds, but in the 1980 season, he was slowing down. The team was giving Lars Lindgren and Kevin McCarthy more ice time and power play work. The veteran, again, rear guard, retired in '81, a year before he made the Stanley Cup Finals. So, just to recount these awards: WHL second All-Star team in '69, first All-Star team in WHL 1970, CHL first All-Star team in '71. The Chicago deal from Dallas and CHL to Portland was for cash, and again, was claimed by eventually Vancouver in the interleague draft. So that's how it worked back then. So a very interesting write-up in the Hockey Hall of Fame. But like I said, there's some argument about players like that should be the Hall of Fame. But the problem is Vancouver had very little playoff success. From a Team Canada perspective, he was very strong in the Worlds. Now you can see his work in the '77 and '78 Worlds. When LaRouche and Esposito went on the rush, Kearns was an awful, he quarterbacked the defense. Similar to Bill White, actually, the '72 Canada Cup. So, Summit Series. But without Kearns and players like him in the first 2 years, Team Canada would have been, not there. I think playing with Roger Bear was a big benefit to him, playing with Esposito, playing with Ronnie Ellis when he made that comeback. But Dennis Kearns has great respect amongst Canadian hockey fans, and this is for you, brother. And he showed up on Facebook the other day, giving compliments to his fellow teammates, mentioned how much it was a pleasure to play with Roger Bear. And Kearns is nothing but a class act. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, we miss him in the NHL because players like that are few and far between nowadays, and is very monetarily obsessed NHL. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like the story of Dennis Kearns and the heroes of '77 and '78 for Team Canada, let us know in a like, comment, subscribe, or share.